Hello, everybody. It's dark in here now. So, how was your weekend? Today, I want to continue the video that was interrupted yesterday about why the mass shootings are taking such an uptick in the past few years. There is a reason for this. The reason being is the government and those behind the government want to disarm the population so that when they do come in with a smart grid and whatnot, any resistance to it will be futile. Any tyrannical law, any Orwellian law, we'll have no way of defending ourselves at all. And you could argue that drones can kill us anyway, but maybe then we should get some drones. Are you kidding me? Where was I? So we're talking about cold coffee in bed. Anyway, the whole idea is to take away freedoms very slowly in something I call the totalitarian tiptoe. First, I take away automatics, then semi-automatics, then whatever and whatever. And it will cause a great deal of issues because most of these mass shootings are either manipulated and some of them are complete hoaxes, like I said yesterday. I know most people don't want to believe this. God, what the hell happened to my hair? What does it matter? I don't have hair gel. That's why I have a comb. So anyway, what they want to do is a lot of these people who commit these horrific acts are either mind controlled or they're simply just mind controlled to be there while a military people do it or someone else does it. And a great archetype example of this was the James Holmes movie theater shooting at that Batman Dark Knight Returns or whatever it was called, which, by the way, was a pretty good movie, but not for those people, obviously. And multiple eyewitnesses said that there were two gunmen. They were not dressed up like the Joker with the orange hair or whatever the hell, that they were wearing bulletproof vests, and they came in through the emergency exit. Somebody was propping it open, apparently on their cell phone. And there were two shooters. Many people said that, but that was always buried in the mainstream media. Then we can talk about, there was this shooting, not sure if it was on a military base It was two Muslims were blamed, a woman and a man. But multiple eyewitnesses said that it was 3 military guys or 5 military guys that were shooting at people. And then there's the ones that are actually mind controlled to do it, like the guy that shot up a Sikh temple. And this latest Parkland shooting was very curious because they did not allow police inside the building for over 30 minutes. Then we go to the Las Vegas shooting, Mandalay Bay Hotel, Stephen Paddock, who apparently had shot a security guard 6 minutes before he shot 500 people and had no military training, had no any kind of training in using weapons. And I am 1000% sure that that one was carried out by black ops type of people. And the shots weren't all coming from the same floor. There is video on YouTube showing shots coming from different floors. And there's also a question as to whether anyone was actually shot. I don't know. I'm not going to say that nobody was shot out there, but there was a couple of guys like Jared Salente and a few other people who said that there were people in that crowd that were hearing things like, "Get down, you've been shot." And they're like things like that, people forgetting their lines and whatnot. And the Sandy Hook event, without question, anyone who's done any modicum of research will know that Sandy Hook wasn't even actually a school at the time of the supposed massacre. And that was one of the ones they really wanted to use to get rid of the guns completely. And hey, I'd love to live in a world without guns, but if the government is buying up trillions of bullets, $1 billion worth of bullets and high-powered ammunition, giving tanks to police crews, I mean, it only makes sense that we should be able to defend ourselves from this type of tyranny. And if the government wants to buy all these guns and bullets, and the military can be used against us as well, obviously they have much more advanced weapons in the shadows, and they have directed energy weapons. And this 5G system, actually, we're using the same thing they used for crowd control, and people feel like their skin is burning off their body. So, yeah, there are reasons to want to defend yourself against a tyrannical government, which the United States is very quickly becoming, and there's no doubting it at this point. So what do we do? You have to be more streetwise whenever one of these things happens, a terrorist attack, a mass shooting, and ask the question, the biggest question to ask is who benefits from a mass shooting? And usually it's those who want to take guns away from law-abiding citizens. And I'll admit it, I don't even own a gun. I don't. But I do appreciate those who know how to use them and are able to adequately stop something from happening. There was a story of a woman, she was testifying in Congress or something. She was at a restaurant with her elderly mother and father, and they had just passed a law that people in Texas couldn't carry guns in their purse. And she was saying how ridiculous it was because some guy came in and started shooting up the place. And they had shot either her mother or father, killed him. And she was running out. She was trying to bring her mother with her. And her mother and father have been married for like 50 something years. And the mother stayed with the father and ended up getting shot as well because she, I guess she couldn't imagine living without her husband, which is sad. And she said, what I did that was bad was I followed this stupid law where I chose to follow the law and it cost me my parents. And with these government raids that are happening with no warrants and all these military-like things, it really is unconstitutional. And they're ripping up the Constitution day by day. And if we all were to be streetwise about these events that happen, like massacres on college campuses or high schools or shopping malls, what they're doing is they don't want us to feel safe anywhere. That is the whole problem. They do not want people to feel safe in any place. Movie theaters, shopping malls, high schools, colleges. And it's pretty soon people shooting through people's windows, just killing random people. People will draw their shades down at all times. And most of it is manipulated. Some of it is genuinely done. And those people are just a symptom of, I guess, mental illness most of the time. I mean, you have to be mentally ill to just go off and start shooting or at some kind of breaking point. I remember seeing a show about this Asian guy. Hope that's politically correct. He had gone on a shooting spree. I think he killed 11 people. I think at a college, and they asked him why he did it, and he was like, "I don't know why I did it." I mean, and people can blame the video games and blame the media's glorification of violence, and that is a big part of it in some cases. Another thing that plays a gigantic part is the medications a lot of these people are on, such as antidepressants, antipsychotics, most of the psychiatric medications, not all of them, but most of them. Let me rephrase that. A lot of them come with black box warnings, which say this medicine may cause suicidal or homicidal thoughts. And they're giving these to people who are already mentally ill. Antidepressants can cause an uptick in suicides. And studies have shown that exercise is just as good as an antidepressant for depression. So I don't understand why. I guess it's because people aren't going to stick to their exercise routine for the most part. But I mean, why give your patients something that can cause them to kill themselves and or others, which was the case in Columbine. They were both on antidepressants, which may, I would give a big may, have contributed quite a bit to their insane rampage, which could have been a hell of a lot worse had those propane bombs gone off. Now, that's one of the ones I know was not manipulated other than through pharmacological means, because we have video of it. We have seen video footage of it. If you notice, the Mandalay Bay Hotel has over 2,000 cameras, and none of them show Stephen Paddock loading weapons up into his room. And surely someone would have noticed that. At Sandy Hook, no one was allowed building. They had a fire station and police across the street. And Wolfgang Halbig, a school safety administrator for decades and decades, did give a great talk, since been removed by YouTube because they don't want the truth coming out about what a school safety administrator would do and would have done in that situation. And it's completely wrong. Just like how on 9/11 everything seemed to go wrong. Same thing. It's just, you got to watch those documentaries about Sandy Hook. First one is called, what is it called? One of them is called We Need to Talk About Sandy Hook. Another one's called, I forget what it was called, but it was made by a guy named Mike Howitt. I don't think it's on YouTube anymore, once again, but that one was probably the best. And then Wolfgang Halbig talking about it as well. But just go to, I forget the name of the website for Wolfgang Halbig, but it's something like sandyhookhoax.com, something like that. And he has some videos on there and some articles. Also, there's a book called Nobody Died at Sandy Hook, I believe also written by a bunch of people who've done independent research into this. There are a bunch of shootings, you know, some of them manipulated, some of them not. But the really big ones, and the ones where the most demand comes for taking away the weapons, those are usually the ones, like the one in Florida. I'm not saying I know for sure what happened, but I've seen a few eyewitness testimonies. One of them being a teacher who said when she saw the shooter, he was wearing bulletproof vests, a helmet thingy like a stormtrooper, and wearing like a police kind of uniform. She's like, why are the police in here? And there was a student that actually said she was actually with Nicholas Cruz, and he, for whatever reason, was in the school, probably mind controlled to be there. Mind control is so easy to do these days. But anyway, she was talking to him as the shootings were taking place on the other side of the building. But it's always easy to blame the lone nutter. It's always the lone nutter, because it was more than one person. It would be a conspiracy. Every once in a while, it's two people, but then it'll be a conspiracy if there's more than one person. They don't want that. It's always somebody who is usually marginalized and whatnot. And it seems to me like they choose these people to either carry out the acts through manipulation of their mind, or they use them as a scapegoat, as the patsy, like Oswald and people like trying to think of another patsy. Well, Sirhan was definitely mind controlled, but whether or not he actually did it, I don't know. But we all know that government has lied to us over and over again through the media, unquestioning mainstream media. And there are very few journalists who will actually tell the truth about any of these things that happen, which is why I recommend getting your news from sources who see things from different angles and not to watch the mainstream BS news, because they're going to lie to you. They're going to tell you the official story. They don't even research. They just read off a teleprompter for the most part. There are a few good journalists in the mainstream, but not many. Most of the, and there are a bunch of bad alternative journalists too. A lot of them fell for the Trump scam. I mean, what'd you expect? They thought he was going to change things. Well, and some of them still are supporting him. Not that he really has any power. Let's not kid ourselves. He's just the front man for the, what they call controlled demolition of the United States, as Max Hegan says. He really is. But just remember that. Don't put yourself in the fear mode. Don't get yourself wrapped up in these shootings, because I would bet a lot of money that probably a quarter of them didn't actually happen. At least 75% of them are done through mind control, and this also includes terrorist attacks, and it's usually not the person they say it is, and it's usually something within our government that's doing it, or even those that run our government are orchestrating these things, like ISIS and whatnot. Anyway, maybe tomorrow I'll talk about ISIS and George Soros. George Soros is a fun character. All right, anyway, thought I'd drop this video down today. I hope you got some knowledge out of it, some value, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.